decreed him by an utterly exasperated enemy. And that is how he came to die, carrying out his own self-sentence. You will see, too, the capacity of man for hardship. On foot at the head of his troops, he crossed the deserts of North Africa. You see that thirst can be endured as well. Always in armor, trailing over a sun-baked plateau, the remnants of a beaten army, an army without supplies. He was invariably the last to drink whenever they came upon water. You see that a man can think equally little of either the distinction of office or the stigma of rejection. On the day of his election defeat, he played fives at the place of polling. You see that men can defy the might of their superiors, for with no one daring offend either Caesar or Pompey, except to curry favor with the other, Cato challenged the pair of them simultaneously. You see that a man can think as little of death as of exile. He condemned himself to both, and war in the meantime. We then can show a spirited an attitude to just the same things, if we will only choose to slip the yoke from our necks. But first we have to reject the life of pleasures. They make us soft and womanish. They are insistent in their demands, and what is more, require us to make insistent demands on fortune. And then we need to look down on wealth, which is the wage of slavery. Gold and silver and everything else that clutters our prosperous homes should be discarded. Freedom cannot be won without sacrifice. If you set a high value on her, everything else must be valued at little. Letter 105. Yes, I'll give you some rules to observe that will enable you to live in greater safety. You, for your part, I suggest should listen as carefully to the advice I give you as you would if I were advising you on how to look after your health at Ardea. Now think of the things which goad man into destroying man. You'll find that they are hope, envy, hatred, fear, and contempt. Contempt is the least important of the lot, so much so that a number of men have actually taken shelter behind it, for protection's sake. For if a person feels contempt for someone, he tramples on him doubtless, but he passes on. No one pursues an unremitting and persistent policy of injury to a man for whom he feels nothing but contempt. Even in battle, the man on the ground is left alone, the fighting being with those still on their feet. Coming to hope, so long as you own nothing likely to arouse the greed or grasping instinct of others, so long as you possess nothing out of the ordinary, for people covet even the smallest things if they are rare or little known, you'll have nothing to worry about from the hopes of grasping characters. Envy you'll escape if you haven't obtruded yourself on other people's notice, if you haven't flaunted your possessions, if you've learnt to keep your satisfaction to yourself. Hatred either comes from giving offence, and that you'll avoid by refraining from deliberately provoking anyone, or is quite uncalled for. Here your safeguard will be ordinary tact. It is a kind of hatred that has been a source of danger to a lot of people. Men have been hated without having any actual enemy. As regards not being feared, a moderate fortune and an easy-going nature will secure you that. People should see that you are not a person it is dangerous to offend, and with you a reconciliation should be both easy and dependable. To be feared inside your own home, it may be added, is as much a source of trouble as being feared outside it. Slave or free, there isn't a man who hasn't power enough to do you injury. Besides, to be feared is to fear. No one has been able to strike terror into others and at the same time enjoy peace of mind himself. There remains contempt. The person who has made contempt his ally, who has been despised because he has chosen to be despised, has the measure of it under his control. Its disadvantages are negatived by the possession of respected qualities and of friends having influence with some person with the necessary influence. Such influential friends are people with whom it is well worth having ties, without being so tied up with them that their protection costs you more than the original danger might have done. But nothing will help quite so much as just keeping quiet, talking with other people as little as possible, with yourself as much as possible. For conversation has a kind of charm about it, an insinuating and insidious something that elicits secrets from us just like love or liquor. Nobody will keep the things he hears to himself, and nobody will repeat just what he hears and no more. Neither will anyone who has failed to keep a story to himself keep the name of his informant to himself. Every person, without exception, has someone to whom he confides everything that is confided to himself. Even supposing he puts some guard on his garrulous tongue and is content with a single pair of ears, he will be the creator of a host of later listeners. Such is the way in which what was but a little while before a secret becomes common rumor. Never to wrong others takes one a long way towards peace of mind. People who know no self-restraint lead stormy and disordered lives, passing their time in a state of fear, commensurate with the injuries they do to others, never able to relax. After every act, they tremble, paralyzed, their consciences continually demanding an answer, not allowing them to get on with other things. To expect punishment is to suffer it, and to earn it is to expect it. Where there is a bad conscience, some circumstance or other may provide one with impunity, but never with freedom from anxiety. For a person takes the attitude that even if he isn't found out, there's always the possibility of it. His sleep is troubled. Whenever he talks about someone else's misdeed, he thinks of his own, which seems to him all too inadequately hidden, all too inadequately blotted out of people's memories. A guilty person sometimes has the luck to escape detection, but never to feel sure of it. Letter number 107. Where's that moral insight of yours? Where's that acuteness of perception or magnanimity? Does something as trivial as that upset you? Your slaves have seen your absorption in business as their chance to run away. So be it. You have been let down by friends. For by all means, keep the name we mistakenly bestowed on them, and be called such just to heighten their disgrace. But the fact is that your affairs have been freed for good, and all of a number of people on whom all your trouble was being wasted, and who considered you insufferable to anyone but yourself. There's nothing unusual or surprising about it all. To be put out by this sort of thing is as ridiculous as grumbling about being spattered in the street or getting dirty where it's muddy. One has to accept life on the same terms as the public baths or crowds or travel. Things will get thrown at you and things will hit you. Life's no soft affair. It's a long road you started on. You can't but expect to have slips and knocks and falls and get tired and openly wish, a lie, for death. At one place you will part from a companion, at another bury one, and be afraid of one at another. These are the kind of things you'll come up against all along this rugged journey. Wanting to die? Let the personality be made ready to face everything. Let it be made to realize that it has come to terrain on which thunder and lightning play, terrain on which grief and vengeful care have set their couch, and pallid sickness dwells, and drear old age. This is the company in which you must live out your days. Escape them you cannot, scorn them you can, and scorn them you will, if by constant reflection you have anticipated future happenings. Everyone faces up more bravely to a thing for which he has long prepared himself, sufferings even being withstood if they have been trained for in advance. Those who are unprepared, on the other hand, are panic-stricken by the most insignificant happenings. We must see to it that nothing takes us by surprise. And since it is invariably unfamiliarity that makes a thing more formidable than it really is, this habit of continual reflection will ensure that no form of adversity finds you a complete beginner. I've been deserted by my slaves. Others have been plundered, incriminated, set upon, betrayed, beaten up, attacked with poison or with calumny. Mention anything you like. It has happened to plenty of people. A vast variety of missiles are launched with us as their target. Some are planted in our flesh already. Some are hurtling towards us at this very moment. Others merely grazing us in passing on their way to other targets. Let's not be taken aback by any of the things we're born to, things no one need complain at, for the simple reason that they're the same for everybody. Yes, the same for everybody. For even if a man does escape something, it was a thing which he might have suffered. The fairness of a law does not consist in its effect being actually felt by all alike, but in its having been laid down for all alike. Let's get this sense of justice firmly into our heads and pay up, without grumbling, the taxes arising from our mortal state. Winter brings in the cold, and we have to shiver. Summer brings back the heat, and we have to swelter. Bad weather tries the health, and we have to be ill. Somewhere or other we are going to have encounters with wild beasts, and with man too, more dangerous than all those beasts. Floods will rob us of one thing, fire of another. These are conditions of our existence which we cannot change. What we can do is adopt a noble spirit, such a spirit as befits a good man, so that we may bear up bravely under all that fortune sends us, and bring our wills into tune with nature's. Reversals, after all, are the means by which nature regulates this visible realm of hers. Clear skies follow cloudily. After the calm comes the storm. The winds take turns to blow. Day succeeds night. While part of the heavens is in the ascendant, another is sinking. It is by means of opposites that eternity endures. This is the law to which our minds are needing to be reconciled.